Good morning or afternoon, everyone.
Good morning.
Sorry, I was a little bit behind the schedule, but I tried to take a drink from my water bottle and poured it down the front of my shirt. So trying to fix that. Ugh. How's everyone doing this close to Christmas? Everybody ready for Christmas? Just chilling?
Not really. No.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. Not ready. It's been, woke up one morning and I was like, oh my goodness, Christmas is around the corner. So, okay.
And Rhonda, just to be clear, we're talking about the 2411 release, right?
2411. Yes. Yeah, we can, yeah, what did I? So, oh, I see what you're saying. So what, so an update on the process, is that what you're asking about on the process? Okay, so what that is really a, it's something that's going on outside of the regular development cycle. So there's a group of people from PTFS Europe, and I think they're the main ones, but they have a, they're kind of doing a complete redesign of acquisitions to bring it more into the future. It's, you know, been around for a while and they just want to update it, put in some more functionality and stuff. So that's what we're talking about. It's not anything specifically for 2411. It's something that's coming. It'll come in the future. I think it's going to be more of a, they'll redesign it and then introduce it into the code kind of all at once. They talked about doing it as a plug-in at first, but then I think they decided just to put it in the core code and not have to worry about, you know, creating it as a plug-in and then eventually having to put it into the core code. We're just gonna move forward.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay. One thing I like to do is just have everybody introduce themselves, just so that we can kind of get to know each other, what we're doing. So I can start. If you know, we usually say how long we've been on Koha, and if you can just maybe share some cool project that your library is working on, or something that that you're, you know, trying to do within acquisitions or just in the library in general, just for something different than what we usually talk about. So I guess I'll start. And my name is Rhonda Kuiper, and my role at the library, I'm manager of collection development and technical services, and I work at the Round Rock Public Library. And something that we're doing right now is we're working on working toward doing pop-up libraries this summer. So we eventually want to get a bookmobile, which is something we don't have yet. And so these pop-up libraries will kind of give us data on where, you know, we can have the most impact on our community by having bookmobile stops. So that's something that we're working on. I'm just going to call out people in the order on my screen. Chip is first.
Hello, I'm Chip Halvorsen. I work at Westlake Porter Library, which is near Cleveland, Ohio. And I just put through my first test EDI orders yesterday and this morning.
Ooh.
So yeah, we made the connection. We're waiting for the test invoices to come back, and we're on the
Yeah.
way. So that's pretty exciting here.
That is very exciting.
Okay.
Very exciting. Thought I had to sneeze, wouldn't come. All right. Monique.
This Monique, right?
Yes, that
Okay.
Monique. Sorry.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, all the Moniques are here. I can't. Usually, I'm the only Monique in the group, so it's nice to have a friend out there. I am Monique Matta. I'm with SLO County Libraries. I'm the Adult Services Coordinator, so I do most of the ordering for the physical and digital adult collections.
Okay.
And I want to say we've been with Koha since early 2022. I want to say so this may be the spring. And right now we're trying to deserialize a lot of our graphic novel and manga records. And so
Okay.
we're trying to get a good list of those going, and then we're going to divide it up, and because that's going to be a pretty big project.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's something that we're getting ready to work on right now.
Okay. All right. Good luck. Mhm. Charlie.
Hi, I'm Charlie. I work with Monique, this one. Over at SLO Public Libraries. I'm the Technical Services Coordinator, and the project we've been with them 2022, like you said. I'm currently trying to figure out floating and to see if we need backstage, if we need to have a service for our authority files. So that's
No. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we do use Backstage and we're happy.
still trying to figure out if we should or shouldn't, because I've heard like some libraries do use it, some don't. So
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, yeah. All right, Amanda.
Hi, I'm Amanda Campbell with the Huntsville-Madison County Public Library in Alabama. I'm the systems librarian. We've been with Koha since 2014.
Okay.
One of the big projects we're working on right now is we also have Aspen Discovery, and we recently decided to change the way that the formats are being determined. They were being determined by our item type, which had just a few options, very basic, but now we're determining the format by bib record, which is
Oh.
exciting because we get to see things like Blu-ray DVD combo packs, but it's also highlighting all the consistencies over the years.
Yeah.
Like all these records for book plus cassette tapes, and the cassette
Ooh.
tapes are obviously long gone. So it's kind of a combination of this is so great, this is exciting, all this cleanup work is so fun, and then, oh, what have we done? So that's where we are. Thanks.
Yes, yes. It's amazing what Aspen actually expects your MARC records to be accurate. And we've got some oldies but goldies, and yeah, find all kinds of interesting things. All right, Holly.
Hello, hello. I am here at Round Rock Public Library with Rhonda. I am the acquisitions assistant. I do the ordering of the physical and the stuff and the paying for all of the stuff and all that good stuff. And yeah, that's about it.
All right. Daphne.
Sorry. I'm Daphne Houlihan. I work with Interleaf Technology in Ireland, and we've been supporting Koha for about 20 years. So we have a mixture of large university clients who would use acquisitions a lot, and EDI, and I'm so old, I was around when EDI was being developed the first time in Koha. So So looking forward to some of these new changes that are in it. And then I come to the meeting to find out how the rest of you use it in a practical sense, because that helps me then when we have new clients to set up.
Mhm.
It's me.
Thank you. Jason.
It's covered up. Hello, I'm Jason Ramba. I'm the Seek and Find coordinator at the Southeast Kansas Library System. We're a consortium of 51 libraries and growing in Southeast Kansas, and we've been on Koha since 2008. Trying to think of interesting projects. One of my libraries recently asked me to try and make Koha do like on-demand delivery service, so when the patron places a hold, they can say, I want this delivered, instead of picking it up at the library. So I'm trying to wrap my head around how to make that work,
Okay.
and make it make sense.
Mm-hmm. No, that's interesting. I'd be interested in what you figure out for that, because we have a delivery service too, so. And then Kristi, I saw you put something in the chat.
Yeah, that was just a comment about using MARC modification templates to help with some of that deserialization of graphic novels.
Oh, yeah.
That could be potentially helpful, but potentially frustrating if you're doing anything that involves changing indicators or adding indicators into the field.
Is this,
that-
Kristi, where we put the plug in for anybody that wants to help koha-US sponsor
Yeah.
the development to have MARC modification templates actually modify the
Yeah.
indicators?
Let me see if I can find that bug. But koha-US has dedicated about, I think it's $4,000 in funds to a development so that you can edit indicators using MARC modification templates more easily. And I think that 4,000, I'm speaking off the cuff, so I don't know if I'm inaccurate. Someone will correct me later, I'm sure, but I believe that's about half the cost that the development was quoted at. So we're still, oh, there you go. But there's the bug. Jason put the crowdfunding board post in there. So that would be exciting. I saw Jason Bashay's presentation on this at koha-US over the summer, and I was like, oh, file that away for someday. And then we got like a huge cleanup project assigned last week, and so then I had to start making and using templates, and now I'm like, oh man, now I know what this indicator stuff is about right now,
Yeah.
because I had to go and change a bunch of indicators after the fact. But I'm Kristi Krueger. I'm the ILS librarian at Cuyahoga County Public Library, and we've been on Koha and Aspen just over a year. And yeah, I'll leave the last thing I just mentioned as a project we've been working on.
Oh, okay. All right, thanks. Ashley. I think Ashley just went away. I'm trying to remember CHillyard, but I don't remember your first name. Okay. All right. Well, that helps, and it's kind of fun to hear what other libraries are doing.
Well, she said she can't unmute.
Oh, can't unmute. Oh,
I don't know.
I don't know if there's any way that we can do it on this end. I don't think so. We can mute people, but I don't think we can unmute them. Okay, then we will go. Any interesting projects that you're working on? And remind me of your first name, because I don't like to call people by their last name. Okay, we'll just wait. Oh, we'll keep moving then. So right at the Cecil from Washoe. Okay, no projects. All right. Thank you. And Washoe County is in Nevada. Is that right? Okay. Okay. So I wanted to give everybody kind of an update. I've had I sat in on 2 meetings with the Acquisitions 2.0 group. And, just to let you know what's going on, what they're doing is basically a revamp of acquisitions. It's not just little tweaks. It's going to be a revamp of it. And right now they're looking at how vendors are set up and how funds are set up and how purchase orders are set up, and just trying to explore all the different workflows that libraries come to acquisitions with, and trying to make it as flexible as possible. For example, right now in Koha, in order to order, you have to create a basket and then you add order lines to that. They're looking at the possibility of being able to create order lines without creating the basket first. For certain workflows, that would work great. And then when you're ready to order, you can create an order group, or each of the order lines would have the vendor in it. And so you could group, by vendor, which things you wanted to order. So that might work really well for some libraries. Other libraries are perfectly happy with the create the basket, which I think the term basket is going to go away, and it will be now an order and an order line instead of basket and basket line, basket and order line. Bye basket. Yeah. So that's something that we kind of talked through. And then the other thing is, we've got funds, and how, what's the word? How strict do we want that fund? Like, can you not overspend your fund? Do you want to give a little leeway with your fund? You can spend up to 10% over. So, trying to figure out, trying to make it as flexible as possible. Right now, you sort of get you get a warning when you're, I forget if it's within 10% of your having spent the whole thing. And then they're also talking about adding, you're getting close to 10% over your budget. Maybe you want to slow down a little bit. So different things like that. They're the next meeting, which won't be till January, they're talking about maybe having some mock-ups of what this would look like from the user perspective, because we're trying to make sure that we're not increasing clicks, and they're not making things too complicated for everybody. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all works out, because just talking, today I was the only person from the US there, so you're somebody from France and somebody from Germany and somebody from I forget where the other ones were all from, but around Europe mostly. And so Finland, I think that was one of them. And they didn't, and universities versus public libraries. So there's all these different workflows that Koha's trying to accommodate in their in the redesign of it all. So, you know, changes to the database that's behind everything, changes to the interface, and how we work through stuff. So it's going to be really interesting, and hopefully we'll have opportunities to test different at different stages of the whole process and just see what's coming, and you know, maybe we can test at one of these meetings or demo it or something like that, and then give them feedback on what's going on, because a lot of it's, you know, the database this, the database that, which, you know, is going right over my head. But I understand the user experience and what we want there. So does that, anybody have any questions about that, or just kind of a curiosity thing? Okay. Then we sort of slipped the plug in for this koha-US development that has been approved, but I just wanted to mention it again for MARC modification template, adding the ability to change the indicators. So if this koha-US has $4,000 to put toward this, it is been budgeted or estimated at costing $8,000. And so other libraries need to contribute. And this is one of those things where if we get a bunch of libraries contributing small amounts, we can get that last $4,000. Or if your library wants to just donate the last $4,000, we would be happy to take that as well. But yeah, that would be something to consider, because I think anybody in the cataloging world would tell you how annoying it is to not be able to modify the indicators. So that's something from Koha. The other thing is, I'm trying to remember, Kristi, maybe you can help me. When is the voting closing for the
For board positions and conference site?
Yeah.
That is the end of the day today.
Okay. Yeah,
So
I
you
thought it was
have-
coming up real soon.
Yeah. You have
So-
one more brief window of time to get those votes in if you haven't already, and you are a certified koha-US member.
So if you need to become a member, do that real quick, and then you can vote. And then we have 3 locations for the three proposals for locations for the conference in 2025. It would be was that Parma, Ohio, kind of where near Westlake, that whole area.
Greater
And
Cleveland
Kristi?
area.
Yeah, say that again.
The greater Cleveland area.
Greater Cleveland area.
Right next to.
Yes, which is where my sister lives. So, and then we have, and I always forget, Rhode Island. Is it Providence, Rhode Island?
Yeah.
Is another one, and then Fargo, North Dakota is the third one. So those are the 3 libraries that put in proposals to have the conference at their location next year. So if you want to have a say, okay, I just saw Monique's thing. Are there any previews of what they're working on in acquisitions currently available? No, there aren't. They don't have any kind of mock-ups or anything like that right now. But I'm hoping after the first of the year, they will have at least some sketches. That was kind of the homework, was for people to go back and kind of sketch up some different layouts for the user interface. And then, there's the ballot. Charlie put the ballot in there. And then the other thing that we're voting on is board members. And so that's important. There's some very great candidates out there, and Wally is one of them. And those that know why I said that. And yeah, so make sure you, if you become a member, if you are a member, make sure that you voted, and the voting closes at the end of day today. Okay. I think that's all of the stuff I had planned to talk about. Does anybody have anything they would like to talk about? Anything that you've run into in your fun little projects that, or maybe not so little projects that you're working on?
On EDI, I have a question to toss out. How do we handle when we're ordering an ad, maybe 1 or 2 weeks after we place the initial order?
So say that again.
How do sites usually handle ads when you like place an order for something and then 2 weeks later the holds build up and you want to buy more copies? Do you place a new order?
That's what we do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we heard from Ingram that's the way to go, and sometimes it'll actually grab onto the other order
Oh,
somehow and combine them. But yeah, we'll see how it works.
okay.
But that was
Yeah.
the biggest question here, I think. So yeah, and some of these things we'll just have to find out what happens when we get there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
I just wanted to bring up that when we started EDI ordering, we did have like an issue with our not replacement copies and additional copies of a bib we already have in the system. And what would happen is that when we would import our MARC files, it would create a whole new bib, and rather than replacing or adding to or replacing the bib that we currently have. So I would just be really careful with that, because that there's a lot of merging involved, and you don't want to add extra steps.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you find the ISBN issue was mentioned? Do you find that you need to keep your records cleaner? Like we like to include every ISBN that ever was attached to that title in our records. We don't clean them up. So is that going to be an issue?
I think the most important thing we discovered through trial of hard knocks. Whoa, hang on one second. There. If you have the most recent or the current one at the top, that will save you a lot of pain.
Okay.
Especially since that's like where the cover image comes from. It'll take it from the first ISBN.
Yes.
Okay. I'll repeat that like a mantra going forward here.
Yeah,
So,
because I think the instinct is, you add it to the bottom, that would just
Yeah.
be kind of what you might do.
Right.
But this is
Yeah.
real important that the best ISBN, the one that matches the book that you have or the one that you're ordering, be at the top.
Okay. Thanks.
Can I ask, do you have, I'm sure you heard that we have the deserialization project going on.
Right. Yeah.
Do you have serialized manga or anything like that?
Oh yeah, we have thousands.
I would be
Seems
careful
like-
with that.
Right,
email
yeah.
ordering. Because
Yeah.
you grab the first ISBN when you're doing like order for volume 10 or whatever, and it
Yeah.
won't send you the volume you want. It'll send you volume 1 because that's the first one at the top of the ISBN. So
Right.
also a big.
Yeah. 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 I'll make sure we're doing that. And thanks for that advice,
Yeah,
because that would have been an ugly surprise
yeah,
if we didn't know. Yeah.
yeah. We
Okay.
had that surprise too. I was like,
Mhm.
why do we have all these copies of volume 1 when we ordered 4, 5, and 6? You know?
Yeah. Mm.
Um,
Okay. All right. Great.
mhm.
Thanks.
May have ended up with, yeah, yeah. Amanda says
Mhm.
they ended up with 11 copies of Fables Volume 1 that way. So yeah, it's a
Yeah.
thing.
Oh.
Oh, shoot, I had something float through my mind to mention. Which it's gone now. Poof. Okay. Anyway. Are there any other things that people are working on? Does anybody order from recorded books? Not recorded books, they don't exist anymore. Rainbow books, or now it's Libraria. I think they're part of Libraria. No, because
Yeah.
they say they have EDI ordering, and that is something, you know, we get the rainbow books. We'll order it's mostly junior nonfiction, kids nonfiction. They've got really a great selection at a good price and good binding. That's huge. So we'll order some from them, and they've said now that Rainbow Books is part of Libraria, I think it is, that they have EDI ordering. So I was just curious if anybody had worked with them that way, because people's definition of EDI ordering can be wildly varying. We'll put it that way. So I guess I will explore that then. So
Does anyone have a fiscal year ending at the end of the calendar year? And if so, do you have any tips for that end of year process?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that. I heard calendar year and
Yeah, just the part of Koha where you're wrapping up the budget for the year and getting ready for the next year. If anyone had general thoughts on that advice.
start months in advance. Months. I always start mine like sometime in like January, February. I'm like, it's already on my mind. And then I start working on it with like frequent reminders, and just like there's like the stats, and then I have to think about like the thing with our setup is that Monique and Susanna, they handle all the budget for their stuff, and our budget is not included with Koha, so we don't track anything through Koha. Our accountant does that, but everything else that you do need to track, just start thinking about everything at the beginning of the year, because it'll just be less of a headache when June comes around, or May even. Like, it's just, yeah.
I think the thing that we learned is, and it might not be such an issue now, but to make sure that all your, oh dear, Holly, you might have to, is it invoices that have to be closed or baskets that need to be closed? All that stuff needs to be closed. Or they're
Invoices
not
need
gonna
to be
roll.
closed.
What's that?
It's invoices.
Invoices.
Mhm.
Okay, so make sure all your invoices for your current year are closed because they will not, what is it, roll over, you know, when you, so you can close, if you have the same fund codes from one year to the next, you can roll any unreceived items to the next year and have them show up in the budget at, you know, it's like a checkbox when you're closing out one year. And but you need to make sure that all your invoices are closed, because we discovered that one year we didn't have a couple of invoices closed, and when we got all done rolling over, we're like, why is there still stuff on our old budget that says it's ordered? It shouldn't be. But yeah, if make sure you do that. And
So this is the limitations of my understanding. If you like had an open invoice, but you hadn't received the stuff for it yet, that would still be open though, right?
yeah, if you hadn't received anything on it,
Mhm.
yeah, that would be fine. If you've
Okay.
received some stuff and not others, I would close it. Just to make sure. And then you can reopen it, I think.
Do you give yourself time, like what we used to do before we separated Koha from our accounting? What we used to do is for the last month, we didn't do any ordering at all, just so we can avoid that issue.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
if anything, give yourself a little chunk of time at the end of the fiscal year, so you don't have to do any rolling over anything.
Yeah, we had, what, we usually wait two weeks or two or 3 weeks at the end of the year. Not ordering stuff, hoping that it'll all come in, but there's always that 5 books that you ordered back in May and they're not showing up. One thing I did just to help get a clue of how we were doing with our budgets was I went through all the stuff that hadn't been received and just checked them to see if they were supposed to come. Yeah, I did this maybe 6 weeks before the end of the year, and just to see if they were supposed to come in this year yet, or if they were coming in next year, in the next fiscal year. Some of them, you know, it was obvious that the publication date had been moved out. And so, and I had created the new budget already, and I just rolled those, you know, just changed them into the next year ahead of time, just to help us get a clearer picture of what was going on. That seemed to work fine. And then, you know, even at the end, when we closed the 1 year and rolled over, it just added, you know, if there was stuff already there in the new budget, it just added whatever it was rolling over into the next year. But we've had pretty good luck with that, the rolling over part, except if we didn't have our invoices closed. Is there anything else that you're wondering about, or are all of you finishing up your Christmas shopping list in your heads?
I had something, but it's not technically, so it's a bug and it's not technically acquisitions.
Okay.
But has anyone been having any issues with holds queue again? Like, I know the bug's still open, but has anyone else like seen that where the holds queue is grabbing it from the in transit rather than the available kind of thing and putting it on, say, Library A has an item, but Library B is the one who has it on their holds queue, for example.
Hmm.
No. Well, good, good that you're not seeing it. It is a little bit of a pain,
Mhm.
but we've been having that issue, and I was wondering if maybe anyone else has seen it.
I don't know. Maybe. But I think it's just like a thing we've always dealt with where like if the hold gets canceled at the library that requested it, and then they don't check it back in, it shows available at that other library, so then it shows up on their queue. Is that what you're talking about, or is it something different?
So we thought it was that when we first started, but we found that both the home library and the current library would have Library A on it, but it would still show up in Library B's holds queue. So we were like kind of confused, to say the least, but we made sure to like, there was one example where that happened, where the book was at that branch, and then they're like, oh, it's on the holds queue, but it doesn't belong to us. But most of the tickets that I'm getting for the holds queue, mainly pulling from items that are in transit or available at other branches. So, and I know that was like a bug, and it's still open. But as far as I knew, back in March, that was the last time I think we updated it, and that was like the last time we really had issues with it. So I don't know if it had anything to do with any updates. I didn't think it would. So I just wondered if anybody else was affected by it. Okay. Ticket it is. Thank you.
Is it this items in transit should not show up on the holds queue bug?
That's part of
Yeah,
it.
I see the first to test step is real-time holds queue, and we don't use that, so that might be why we're not seeing it. Do you have the real-time on? For everyone's reference.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. You know, I'm not sure where to find it.
Oh, that's syspref called real-time holds queue.
Oh, it says disable. So we have it
that's not it.
disabled right now.
I don't know. I would think that we would see this because we do a ton of transfers and stuff. So I'm gonna have to look at that some more. But as far as I know, we're not seeing it.
Yeah, I wouldn't think much of it if it was like one or two branches, but we've got like since last week, and it just only started like last week and a half ago, where 4 branches have come by and said, oh yeah, that's happening here too. Because everybody can see everybody's tickets here. So everybody's like, yeah, we had that happen in the last couple of days. So maybe there's just something, which is weird because I haven't done any changes with this. So well, we'll find it sooner or later. Hunt it down. But thank you for the real-time holds queue. I did not know that existed.
Okay.
Has anyone found anything particularly exciting in the 2411 release notes on acquisitions? That's, oh, bug, or if you're not using EDI, this is anyone not using EDI here? Or, okay, so this has to do with, being able to basically one click from vendors like Baker and Taylor, or maybe another one if they can support it, and it imports the MARC records into your catalog and adds the order lines, which is pretty cool.
Oh, so this is just for non-EDI vendors.
Right.
Because I had heard about this and I was like, how does that work with the EDI? But I guess it doesn't. That would explain it.
The release notes for 24/11, if anyone's curious what's coming up.
Oh, there's the release. Okay. That was... So we could... Okay, so new feature is this automated MARC record ordering process, which adds a parallel process to EDI ordering for MARC file-based ordering systems. And then, oh, we've got an oldie here, in the enhancements, 8855, that's an old bug. Link from receipt to invoice. This enhancement links the invoice number on the receiving orders page to the invoice page. That'll be nice. And we have more specific permissions for purchase suggestions. So it adds a new staff permissions for suggestions. The new positions are suggestions create and suggestions delete. Staff that currently have suggestions manage will have the new statuses after the update. Okay. Oh, that's nice. So that there's add order search form to acquisitions module start page. So this adds the advanced search form for searching orders to the start page of the acquisitions module. So that just brings that search stuff a little higher in the process. So that is handy, because that can come in very handy. And then add a hint to the EDI account form that the SFTP or FTP port will fall back to the port if port 22 if not defined. Okay. And then add order confusing when ordering from a staged file. Fixes confusing terminology when staging or adding a new file to a basket in the acquisitions module. Okay. I guess we're just very used to the confusing language. And then don't provide old claims file fields when duplicating acquisition orders. Oh, okay. And then there's the option to add an option to place the currency symbol before or after the amount. So that's just making it a little more generic. And then this enhancement adds a new API endpoint to list baskets for acquisitions.
I don't understand that one at all. I read through the bug just now.
Oh,
And
yeah. A new API endpoint.
list baskets.
Kristi, a
Mhm.
quick question. How do you guys like bookings? I know you guys have you talked about that in the last couple meetings and you
Mhm.
have like a lot of sponsored stuff here. How are bookings? How do you guys like it? What's-
Bookings are really, really good. There are, let me think, I think there's some stuff coming up in 24/11 that'll make it even better. Let's see, so basically, one thing I would say if you're using bookings now, we basically have things like if it's a bib that has booking, things you can book on it, like everything on the bib is bookable. Like we're not trying to juggle, like, well, you could have some of these things are just regular checkout stuff and some of the things on this bib are bookings. It's just everything on that is bookable or not. And that makes it really much more streamlined to manage. So that's a tip for using bookings. It's nice now. One of the last upgrade that we got has it so that you can now see the bookings that a patron has on their patron account. Before it sort of all lived separately because it was so new, it wasn't really living anywhere else. So that's a great thing to be able to see now, because you know, patrons come in and they'll say, I know I have something booked, but I don't know when I'm supposed to pick it up. Can you look it up on my account? And now that can happen, and that's awesome. So there's some more things. There's a bookings to collect circulation report. This is 24/11. This is looking ahead. So that's going to be kind of like when you go into the circ module, you'll be able to click on the report for the bookings that you need to fill for the day, similar to how you do for your Holds Cube. Right now, we're just running that out of the reports module in Koha, so it's not as easy for staff to find. So this will be great. Yeah. Any specific questions about bookings?
I'm trying to
Go ahead.
find out how we can use it, because when it was first introduced, we were like, nope, we don't want it, take it away, basically, and then we had them hide it from staff's side of things. But with the we were thinking of going into it more, so I guess.
Yeah, there are some specific permissions for bookings. So like it's not an every staff member can do it or every staff member can't. Actually,
That was the
hold on,
biggest concern.
let me look at permissions again. But one thing is, so the types of things that we tend to use it for are classroom discussion sets. Like a lot of teachers want 15 copies of a book for 8 weeks, and they know that they're going to need it in March to talk about a certain thing in their curriculum. So bookings are really popular for those. Other things that they're really popular for are kind of more like kits. Again, teachers a lot of times will book those. It's like, I know I'm going to be teaching about apples in September, so I want to be able to book the apples program or kit for that month. Or it's things like that mainly just our staff use to book for staff use. And those could be like, we're doing a program on circuits, so we need the squishy circuits kit to be available for our program in November. So they'll book and then they'll look at the bookings to see when they can have it and plan accordingly. Those are kind of the three main ways we do it right now.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, that was gonna be my question. What kind of use cases do you have for bookings? Because we had this same reaction. It was like, yeah, we don't need this, but we do have book club sets, which might be nice for them to be able to claim it for March or whatever they want it.
There is, so I'm seeing there's one permission that you have for bookings, and that's manage item bookings. And I think you'd want most of your staff to be able to do that.
So is that something that they, like a patron would just come up to the desk and say, I want to reserve this or book this for this particular time, and the staff would just handle it?
Yeah, right now it's all staff. Like there's no customer facing component of it that I know of. We don't work with the Koha OPAC, so I don't think there's anything, but I don't think there's anything developed for that. So yeah, this is all staff mediated right now, but looking forward, That's the goal, is to be able to have patrons do this themselves for the most part.
Okay. There's just a couple minutes left.
If anyone figures out what they're talking about in bug 38204, I'm all ears.
3-8.
Oh, is
Acquisitions
that the
baskets
one about baskets and the
and the
API?
API endpoints, yeah.
Okay, so you can access like the API at api.koha-community.org. Basically,
Okay.
all that bug is saying is we added baskets to that list of things that you can now use the REST API to talk to Koha with. So like third-party vendors can use Koha's APIs to pull things out of Koha if you give them credentials for that. So it's
okay.
just adding a different way for external things to communicate with, in this specific case, the baskets within Koha.
Okay, thank you.
So I should say it's not just third-party things, it's also internally. So like one example that came with the last upgrade was they're using the API to generate the whole item holdings tables now. So like when you pull up an item record, it loads the table instead of it loads it on demand instead of trying to load a big long table all at once. And that's using the APIs as well. It's like a more modern thing that Koha has been doing for a while, and they've been building it up from like Koha had this, now the API needs this, so that then we can leverage the API to use it within Koha. That sort of thing. That was probably not a very clear explanation, but
No, that
it's a good
helps a
thing.
lot. Thanks.
Okay. Well. It's about time to wrap up, so I wanted to take the last couple minutes just to remind everybody, our next meeting will be January 21 at the same time, and as time, and I just want to wish everybody happy holidays, safe travel if you're traveling, and we'll see you in 2025. It's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rhonda.
Happy holidays.
Yep.
Holidays.
Happy holidays.
Yes.
Bye.
We'll see you next year.
Mhm.